Welcome to Talent Takeover
Unfiltered.
When it comes to working hard and keeping it real, we know our shit. Self-care, happiness, inner peace, and time. I'm Brianna Rooney, and this is Taylor Bradley.
Hey, y'all.
And we have thrived in chaos and turned it into an art form. So Taylor, what are we doing here today?
We're here to give you a raw, under-the-hood view of all things recruiting and finally give credit where credit is due to a long underrated industry that's full of quote-unquote experts.
All right. Well, then let's take this show to the road. Hello, welcome to Talent Takeover Unfiltered. We're coming to you as always. So we have got an interesting subject as always. So thank you for listening. If you love it, which I'm sure if you're listening, you do, please send it to friends. Let's grow this community. Let's grow paying it forward and all these amazing things. Taylor, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing spicy today.
It was just your birthday. So did you have a good, it was your evening. I know you celebrated. How are you feeling today?
Actually, really good. I only had 2 cocktails, which is very odd because I will tell you, I normally always go for a boozy lunch, but I had shit to do, work, God damn it. So no boozy lunch. I'm like, nope, gonna be good. I'm gonna get drunk tonight. You. And then we went to this super fancy restaurant that I love, but I love it too much that it's like, I can't drink that much because I'm focusing on eating so much.
The food's just so good.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And you know what was really cool? So shout out to Mastro's. They did a personalized menu for me. So I'll send you a picture. I'll show you guys all the picture. But yeah, it said Brianna's 39th birthday, Mastro's. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And honestly, it's just them reprinting a menu. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, right?
Yeah.
And then they give you this amazing dessert, which, oh my God, they have the butter cake. And it's my mouth's watering.
I make gooey. Is it gooey butter cake? Because I can make that shit.
Are you serious?
Oh, so yeah, it's a family recipe, and Aaron will just sit there and eat the whole thing.
Oh my God, my mouth's watering.
I'm gonna have to make it for you.
Oh, yeah, you're automatically coming over this weekend. You just get on that plane.
I'm gonna teleport there.
Yeah, but even on the plate, it's happy 39th birthday, Brianna. And it's fucking loved it.
Yeah, they have a place here in Dallas that does that called Oceanair, and they'll reprint the menu for you and everything, and then they bring out this dessert that's on fire, and it says happy birthday all around. It's super, but I guess it's just those fancy places that will reprint a menu for you.
Yeah, right. But again, it doesn't take that long. You have a printer, right?
No, just killing another tree, but
whatever.
It's not just everywhere we'll do that, but it's super. I don't know. It's those fancy places, but yeah, I love those places. They also bring out a carrot cake that's 6 carrot cakes
off the charts,
which is my shit.
God. Well, we actually, I did something that I have not done, and I brought my kids there because I'm not always a big fan of kids at fancy places because they don't mind their manners, but they're really good, especially when I threaten their lives. And so, I did tell them because I've seen quite a lot of famous people there. And so they were so bummed that they didn't see someone famous. I was sorry. It's where's Britney Spears? I thought you said, I'm
she's playing with knives.
I'm I don't think you want to see her right now.
But have you seen her?
No, of course not.
Oh my God. So they did this welfare check on her. It's all over the news because her dance videos that I always send you that you're so she's got 2 big ass butcher knives and she's clack, 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 and doing her spins and her circles and all that shit. And she's they're not real, clack, clack. And we're oh, yes, they are. And apparently she had cuts and I don't know. So it's all over the news that somebody sent a thing in to do a welfare check. So the sheriff went and did a welfare check on her. Bless her heart.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Boys. Oh, it's sad. Yeah. How the hell did we get here? Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about texting.
We're not talking about Britney Spears. We are talking about texting in recruiting. So this one, I think there's different schools of thought on what roles it should be used for and all that stuff. Or maybe there used to be. I should actually say there used to be different schools of thought. But let's just get right into that. Texting and recruiting. How do you feel about it?
Love it. I dig it. I think that I'll tell a story. So I was just, this person is trying to, they want to hop on the bandwagon with Thriversity, which is cool, which if you all don't know, it's our learning development side. So we have all these digital courses and coaching and stuff like that. And they're hey, I want to get more growth, more visibility there. We work on commission, and they're texting me this and I'm it's not a bad idea, right? Pay for results. Like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, I'll talk to you. But it's a text. And so I meant to get back to them and I didn't. So they text me back and it's like these little itty bitty snippets, right?
Yeah.
And if that person would have emailed me, I would have ignored them all day long. But for some reason, like text is so efficient. It's so direct, which I love. I love the directness in sales. And I know that when we talk about recruiting, there's this whole other thought, in the last year or so that we need to be marketing more, we need to have more relationship buildings. And I agree, right? But we're all fucking busy. What do you want? Does it make sense for me to talk to you? Simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whenever I think about texting and recruiting, how it used to be used, like back in the day, whenever I was working for IBM and we were using it for like manufacturing clients, that was the best way to get a hold of them for manufacturing candidates because, they're working shifts. Typically, they can't even have their phone on the floor. But if they do, it's like they definitely can't take a phone call, right? So it was always my belief, and I really do think it's accurate to the market and the industry, that texting used to only be applicable for certain jobs. Now, fast forward to 2023, I think texting is applicable to all jobs. I know
every level.
Every role. We're working, on a C-suite search, and I encouraged our recruiter whenever she was trying to get some availability from a CFO candidate and hadn't heard back via email. I'm like, just shoot her a quick text and just say, hey, because obviously the client side, like they're waiting. There's a couple VPs and C-suite that were waiting on this person's availability and schedules are booking up. A day had gone by. I'm like, maybe it's, how emails get buried. Just shoot a quick text.
They do.
And so she did. And she got back in a matter of seconds. And I'm like, this just shows how much has changed in like the last 10 years of it used to be like, oh my God, don't even think about texting a C-suite candidate. Like don't do it. You know what I mean? It makes you look unprofessional if you're sending them a text. It's too casual, And then like fast forward to this day and age, I think people want exactly what you said. Like it's very direct. It's to the point. Here's what I need from you. It takes 2 seconds to text somebody back versus like, I don't know about you, but like, I don't look at my personal email, but maybe like once a day.
Well, here's what's funny is I haven't had a personal email since I was like 16.
Oh,
so that would be so inaccurate for me. It doesn't even exist. It was Roxy8 at AOL.com.
Well, thank God that's dead.
Yeah, it no longer live. So like they would have to, email my professional one.
Yeah.
So, but I love texting. So we've actually have been doing it for a while with candidates as far as like scheduling. And so I always encourage, the recruiters and myself to say like, hey, what's your preferred communication? Do you and I try to get them off LinkedIn as quick as possible. Like if that's even how I got them, and I'm like, I get them off. I'm like, hey, I'm going to shoot you an email. I'll put just spoke to you in the subject. So, it's me. Look out for that. Or, hey, do you like text or do you like a quick phone call? What do you like? What's your preference? What's your cup of tea? Yeah. But texting, I think will always get the job done. Always.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think it's like, it's just not, there is not the stereotype or perception that it used to have. And I know for a fact it used to have that because I used to work on both. Like we'd have manufacturing roles, we'd have C-suite roles. And so I remember being like, okay, there's a certain, and it was typically based on availability of per the job that they do, right? Which when you think about it is crazy. It's like, there's not a lot of C-suite people that are just sitting around like on their phones either. Like, so getting to them very quickly through a text is like really the best way to go. But I think texting and recruiting is really, really powerful. Now, what I don't love is somebody asking you a bunch of questions. That's not like things that you should have asked in a phone screen. Don't send that in a text. I think that's where you got to know the difference of like, if there are some outstanding questions, or maybe it came to the recruiter later that there were specific questions they needed to be asking candidates as per the hiring manager, send those in an email. Like don't send those questions in a text and expect them to type you novels and stuff to answer your questions that should have been interview questions. I think it's be brief, be bright, be gone thing. Yeah. Like you need to get quick information. It's very direct, but you don't need to have extended conversations with candidates via text.
No, it gets to be too much. But I will say that what I would do, like let's just say I have 3 questions to ask, is I would text that person and I would say, hey, heads up, I have 3 additional questions the hiring manager want answers to, or whoever. I'm going to shoot those over in an email.
Boom.
Happy to or say, hey, happy to text it to you, but I think it's going to be too much. I'm going to shoot an email. And the person might come back and say, it's all right. Like, let me just text, because they don't want it on their personal email. Maybe depending on the company they work for, they really monitor, their computer. So I think there's just different ways of thought, but just ask the fucking question or just get a heads up. you know?
Yeah. And I think that's a good best practice, what you stated before, of like asking them what their preferred method of communication is, you know? And I think that's like shows a lot of respect. And it's because I know that people have hesitancy with texting a candidate if they haven't asked them beforehand if it's okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see that too. Like, I totally understand that. So I think to obviously combat that issue, you just need to ask them, like, it's your preferred method of communication or which one, or say, hey, I've just found it easier to text whenever I get updates as far as scheduling and availability. Is it okay if once I get the hiring manager's availability, I shoot you a quick text with that so we can coordinate? I think as long as you're setting the scene.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I dig it for Biz Dev. So, you know, especially with past clients, you know, so I've got lots of actual hire managers on my phone. And I was like, oh, wait, I do have that, don't I? Like, we did obviously have a relationship. I've talked to this person. So shooting a text and be like, hey, you know what? I know LinkedIn's crowded. So just kind of tell them like, hey, I didn't want to shoot you over, you know, a message on LinkedIn, because like even the people that like I have a relationship with and like I know for a fact would get back to me if they saw it, weren't getting back to me. Even someone who wants me, okay, a great example, someone wants me to fly up and do a conference for them. Okay, great. Like we've already agreed, but it's coming up real soon. I'm like, hello, you know, like, let's talk about this. And so I had to follow up with this person 3 different ways just to get a response. And so I bet you if I had that person's phone number, texting would have like really nailed it, because it's easy peasy and it's not crowded.
That brings up, that's a great point of like making sure that you get their number, because also you could see a number that they could provide could be their work number, could be a Google Voice number, could be any kind of number. So making sure that if you ask the question and they say they're okay with you texting them, making sure you have the right phone number, just like you would confirm an email, confirming that you have the right phone number. That's really important. But I think it's just a tool for us to be more efficient, for everyone, not us as recruiters, but everybody to be more efficient, to be able to now incorporate texting into the recruiting process.
I love it. And now I'm even thinking about like, I think text sequences are probably really, really, really powerful.
Yeah. I get a lot of text sequences for like different like brands that I've like bought stuff for. Yeah. And it works, you know, better than their email campaigns do.
I mean, think about it like this. Okay. So like if you're sending a message via LinkedIn, you have to type out the whole URL, right? You can't just like link things, which by the way, come on, LinkedIn, get your shit together, right? So, but like when you're doing it via text, how easy is that just to be bink and just click buy? Now you already have like the discount code or whatever it is. And now that I'm thinking about it, why are we not sending text sequences for like Thriversity?
Well, we're starting today.
There we go. You'll be getting them from us.
And then I know some people have it like, so I think it's still good to ask the question, because I know some people have like texting features blocked for numbers they don't know. Sure. Like if it's not a same number in your phone. So I think that's a really good one to say when you're asking the hire, or it's not, it could be the hiring manager, it could be the candidate, it could be whoever. If you can text them, make sure to save my number. Just like how you tell people, like, make sure to save my email address so it doesn't go to spam. Yeah. No, exactly. And you know what's so interesting is that for me, it's way easier and more efficient, I think, to save someone's number in my phone than it is to say this is a safe email in my email, which is crazy because I'm in my email all the time. Like, why is that such? But I guess it's something that I'm not used to doing. And so, you know, all of a sudden your junk kind of like goes like crazy. And now you have like 400 messages in junk. And it's like, who's going through that? I'm just deleting it. Like, and I might have lost something that I didn't want to lose, you know? Yeah. And I think that's also when you think about for like you said, biz dev purposes, to put somebody in your phone, you've got their number forever. And like, I've had the same cell phone number since, you know, I was a freshman in college. Yeah. So it's like most people don't change their cell phone numbers. So that's kind of like gold.
Deal to change your, I agree.
Yeah. To get somebody's cell phone number is like gold. And you never know when a candidate could become a hiring manager. Yep. You never know. So to be able to have somebody's cell phone, like I remember doing biz dev for us, you know, I was able to text somebody who was very, very high up within US Steel, and his phone number was still the same. And it's been like over 10 years. And he got back to me and everything. And this was just like a few months ago, just trying to do some biz dev for us. And I'm like, oh my God, the power of having somebody's cell phone is like even more so than an email address. Having somebody's cell phone.
I agree, because there's no way that a text message goes into spam.
Yeah, no.
It's not even possible.
Well, I think you could set it up to where like because I know that we have an employee who has it set up to where she doesn't get numbers. Like she won't get a phone call from a number she doesn't know or a text, like something. There's a setting on your phone. Yeah. I don't have it set up or anything, but I know that there is one that's like something like that. So it'll just go straight to a voicemail. Like she won't even, it won't even ring. Though?
won't
I
even...
don't think she'll even get it.
Really? That's interesting. Okay, well, how many people do that? Because I didn't know any.
No, I think it's very much like if it's coming from a number. I think some of those are like 0164. Have you ever seen those texts where it's not like a real number? It's a very much like I'll get them from AT&T sometimes.
Sure.
And so I think maybe that's probably what her texting feature is set up to do. And then anything that's set up as a phone number as far as like spam risk, how it'll show up on your phone, she has that set up to where she doesn't even see those. Okay. So, but I think an actual number, like a number from a real person sending a text, it's not going to show up as like spammy.
Right. Especially if like you got them. But like, I mean, there's all different systems. I think a lot of people instantly go to Zoom Info. Oh, Zoom Info, because that's the one that everybody knows. But honestly, it's the most expensive.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at? What, Seamless?
Seamless AI.
Seamless AI. And the bottom line is the more touches you have, the better. But text messages, I think, is not something, especially in recruiting, that has been completely, I'll say, violated. Because we all know LinkedIn and emails are getting violated right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's such a good point that you're like, this is so powerful to have somebody's cell phone number. Think about the relationship that you have to have with someone to get to their cell phone number. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yes. And like how no one, like it's very rare, someone's going to be like, I don't know you. Oh yeah? But I have your number.
Yeah. It's very like what J-Lo said that about like Britney. I don't know. Somebody said that somebody's super famous. Oh, Mariah Carey said that about J-Lo. I don't know her. It's like all of this. It's like everybody knows her.
Get out of here.
I mean, even if you don't know the number, because I know my phone does this thing sometimes as I've gotten new ones where it will register. It won't have a number that I'm like, I know I had that number saved. Like, I'll know I had that number saved and I can scroll up and see my conversations from years ago with this person. But for some reason, their contact just won't be in my phone anymore. It'll show their number. Yeah. But I could go see historically our conversations throughout the years. So I don't know why that stuff happens. And I've had that, like other people have told me that's happened to them too. But I think it's, again, like I had that person's number from US Steel for over 10 years and it's still like, it was the same number and I had it in my phone. So it's wild.
So to recap, I think first of all, for recruiters, especially that have clients and candidates, this can be used the same way. Hey, I have time for a quick chat today. Hey, I've got an update on an offer. Hey, I got an update on a candidate. Hey, just, it's used for very quick methods of communication, especially if you're not getting them elsewhere. But let's not forget about this for Biz Dev. So I'm going to throw a question at you. For a cold text message, how do you think you would roll through that? Or even just someone you haven't talked to in a really long time? I mean, I guess those are two different things, but.
Two different things. So somebody I haven't talked to in a really long time, I'm all for it. If it's somebody that is just like doing biz dev and I've never spoken to you ever because, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Like my cell phone number is in my email signature. It is.
Yeah.
And so I don't love if I've emailed with somebody for something like a product, a platform, whatever it is, and they just start sending me like business development, like trying to sell me stuff through my cell phone number. And we've never even talked before. I don't love that. I'm like, wait, what is this about? Because I won't even know what it's about. I won't know who it's coming from. I think that it's also too dependent upon the approach. I think if somebody's like, hey, I've tried getting you, I know we talked back in XYZ, April, whatever. I've tried sending you a couple emails with no response. Maybe I thought I'd maybe try you here. I think I think it's all about the approach. But if we've spoken before, and this is just putting a disclaimer out to, I guess, everybody. Like if I've spoken to you before, you can text me and I'm not going to feel a way about it. If we've never had a conversation and you just track down my cell phone and then don't tell, like we've never spoken and you don't lead with something that even acknowledges that we've never spoken or acknowledges like I've tried sending you emails, I'm going to try contacting you here, something like that. If you're just sending me spam that feels like spam, it's probably going to be a turnoff, but it's all about the approach. It has to feel personal.
All about the approach. And it's really leading with the ROI. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
Like, period. So I'm actually going to get this up right now because I dig this for Biz Dev. And I'm just I'll full blown just freaking read it, right? Hey, Brianna, it's Lori with blah, blah. From the looks of your business online, my team did the math and they are certain we can help you bring in an additional 100 to 400K in top line revenue under 12 months or less with our team of appointment setters. As long as you have a high ticket offer, we have a guarantee. So then I was like, I read it and I was like, okay, whatever. And then goes into recently we helped, and it gives me a very small testimonial. Like, we helped an owner of a service provider company bring in 120K in under 6 months by using our proven and so like it goes on a little bit. Does this sound like something you'd be interested in? If so, I can get you on the team with one of my growth analysts. So I was like, again, I kind of like looked at it and I'm like, I don't know. Like, again, like it's a spam, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so they shot me another one. Hey, our growth analyst is ready to discuss this further in depth. You know, would this be worth a few minutes of your time? So then I decide for shits and giggles, I'm like, what biz of mine are you thinking this works for? Because now I'm like, is this a true spam? Or like, do you like, or did you actually do your homework?
For sure.
And she's like, hey, Brianna, yeah, I'm referring to Thriversity. So I'm like, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
I'm talking to them. So I think if you did your homework, show that you did your homework and show what this is going to do for me. And again, a few minutes of my time sounds like nothing.
Well, what I will say, my comment to that is, one, I'm shocked that you read that whole thing. Like, I bet you that came through as a fucking novel in a text. So that would actually
wasn't so bad, but yeah.
That would actually be one thing that I would discourage people from doing. Like, if you're going to text, don't send like a lot of information. That goes back to like the interview. Like, don't send something that's going to require a lot of reading, because I feel like text is where you go to be brief, you know, and get some like quick information. I wouldn't send novels in that. So I would never send, going back to like what we were saying about send a text saying, I'm sending you an email with those additional questions. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it ended up working on you, but I think most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you don't read long shit like that.
Oh no, I don't read anything. Like, no, thank you. But what I liked about this and why I wanted to read it is because they had actual data. They had numbers. They had, you know, so to me, it was very powerful because, so like, okay, so from my point of view, if I'm gazing and just kind of glancing at like an email or a text message or whatever it is, if I see numbers, I'll actually stop to read it.
You saw the $sign. That's why you
saw a $sign. Exactly.
That's why you stopped. Okay.
100%. That's why I stopped. I did not read anything. I just saw $signs. And then I was like, let me read this shit.
You know? Oh, yeah. So our broke to boss tip is, if you text Brianna, put $signs in the email.
Well, yeah. Hey, listen, if it is a business owner, 100% put $signs in there. Like, that's what makes our world go around, right? That's why we have a business.
I love that. Well, actually leading into our real broke to boss tip is one that, you know, you kind of created yourself, which I love, because typically I do these, but it's Brianna's We Are Goldfish. I know there's a book that you wanted to make sure that we plugged here that you felt was really relevant. But be really direct in your text messages. We're goldfish. We have the attention span. I want you to elaborate on that a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as Taylor was saying, like, I don't read anything. Like, I'm so bad that I will literally read the last sentence of an email to see if it interests me at all. Yeah, because like I always feel like the last is where it comes with a punch. So come on, punch me in the beginning. But there is a book called Smart Brevity, which we'll link, you know, here in the comments or however just rolls. But it's great because it goes into how in the society that we live in today, with our media, with our social media, with the fucking TikTok, right, doing so well. You know, it does so well because it's very short. Yeah. Very short. Like your brief and be gone thing. So Smart Brevity shows you how you can say the smallest amount of words and sentences and still pack a punch.
Love that.
And I love it. And this, and, you know, so here's the thing. I love reading. I love holding a book. Like, I'm not normally on Audible whatsoever, but this book, because of its of what it talks about, I actually love listening to it. So I do have it on Audible and on Amazon. And I think it's great because it's also motivating, and it also just kind of makes you giggle. And so I downloaded it for my journey to go to Tahoe. So it's like an 8-hour drive, and kids aren't always excited about it. And so I'm like, hey, Diego, you want to listen to this? He's like, yeah, sure. What's it about? And he actually got super into it. He's 9 years old.
Love that.
And he found it like super fascinating because it talks about the psychology of consumers, the psychology of small bits, and really hones into the fact that our attention spans are so low, which by the way is really fucking sad, right? You know, there's like squirrel, butterfly. What are we talking about? You know, like, you know, and so Smart Brevity just really, I think, nails it. And it's used in any and all business cases, but for, you know, your fellow recruiters that are listening, even, you know, and flip it up, even hiring managers that are listening, you know, it's like, hey, like you need this because we still have to grab the attention. We still have to hire. And even if we're not hiring, and it's just like to our employees, we still have to engage them.
Yeah.
How do we engage them with, I guess, the minimal, I don't want to say effort because that sounds bad, but with the minimal amount of words and phrases.
True. Love that.
Yeah. That's my
Awesome.
spiel. And no, I didn't write it. I'm not pitching my own shit, right? I believe in it.
Yeah. Love that. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, we appreciate your comments, subscribes, all that, sharing it, telling your friends about it, sending us messages. Love all that shit.
Love it. All right. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks,
and every
y'all.
Tuesday. Bye.